Okay, so this is my PBIS presentation for my final. My first slide is positive behavior interventions and supports. And I have my pyramid here. Tier 1 serves 80% of students. Tier 2 serves 15% of students, and Tier 3 serves 5% of students. PBIS are problem solving and prevention methods. The approach to behavior, and it's a targeted approach. It's set up just like the RTI triangle. Students move from the bottom up because your more individualized supports are at the top, and your bottom is your majority of students. So as you move up, your supports will become more individualized. School-wide positive-based behavior interventions. School-wide PBIS is a framework to support student behavior in all settings in the educational environment. It's also a prevention model and delivers different types of support to students in each behavior tier. 4 elements of school-wide PBIS are outcomes, data, systems, and practices. Outcomes are why you need PBIS. Data needs to be measurable, it needs to be collected and analyzed. You use it to make decisions, not to change the outcome. And practices are the final element of PBIS and support the behavior of the students. That is your behavior expectations that you are expecting your students to follow. In school-wide PBIS, all schools should document a mission statement that provides their approach to supporting student behavior. Establish strategies to encourage appropriate behavior. Establish and teach 3 to 5 positively stated school-wide expectations, and establish recognition strategies to help all students with behavior and emotional skills. Class-wide PBIS is focused on individual student outcomes. PBIS has led to reduced rates of disruption, higher rates of student outcomes, and has let teachers have more time teaching. A class-wide PBIS plan needs to be in an efficiently designed classroom. You need 3 to 5 positively stated classroom routines, active supervision, and acknowledgement of the behavior that you were expecting. Tier 1 is at the bottom of the triangle, and it's focused on providing support to all students in each setting, whole group instructions and supports. Tier 1 interventions revolve around both school-wide and class-wide routines. In Tier 1, you're serving 80% of your students, so your supports have to be universal. Some Tier 1 interventions are brain breaks, where you let your kids get out, move around instead of having them sit around all day. And it's a proactive prevention method. Snack breaks, whenever your students feel hungry, it's distracting, and it causes them to act up more. So if you get them a small snack, they can eliminate the feeling of being hungry, leading them to focus on other things in the classroom. Positive parent contact, parental involvement benefits students by increasing motivation. It improves behavior. Reviewing your classroom and building your procedures. You have to give your students a routine, and it provides structure for them. Give them the building procedures too. They need that structure to encourage positive behavior. Tier 2 support is focused on students who continue to show at-risk behavior. You intensify each Tier 1 level of support and add in extra layers of support. And this is more individualized for the student because it serves 15% of students. Social skills. No. Key features of 2-tier interventions. Social skills refer to interactions with peers. Social instructions and social skills reduces unwanted and inappropriate behavior. Tier 2 intervention should also be maintainable and require low effort from the teacher's side. You want it to be efficient and effective. They need to be function-based because every student's support is different based on their function of behavior. You need to have continuous monitoring to make data-based decisions and adjust the intervention. Questions to ask before starting Tier 2 interventions. Is the student not responding to the Tier 1 level of support? Does the student engage in low-level behavior that is not up to the expectations of the classroom? And then you can use your data collected from your tier 2 interventions in your classroom to make decisions regarding the support the student is receiving. The function of behavior it goes with tier 2, and that's why is the behavior happening? What is the student trying to achieve by pursuing undesired behavior? They would do that for 4 main reasons. One of them is avoidance, where they're trying to remove themselves. Social attention, where they want the attention that they are lacking and they don't care if it's positive or negative. Seeking access to an activity, they will act out because they know that they will get something out of it. And sensory stimulation, they're behaving in a way that feels soothing to them and their senses. Tier 2 interventions serve 15% of students and will be used alongside those interventions in tier 1. Self-monitoring, this increases their self-independence and a sense of responsibility by having them look at and manage and track their own behavior. Sensory tools are for students who have trouble calming down and need help with self-regulation. Social skills groups, children with behavior, emotional disabilities require intensive and individualized interventions so they know how to act with their peers. The behaviors and social skills are explicitly taught and practiced, and they are also practiced outside of the classroom, not just inside of the classroom. The Pre-Mech Principle, which is first then, David Pre-Mech found that children were more likely to do something that they didn't like if they knew that they could do something they wanted to afterwards. Using a first then chart in the classroom encourages the student to do what they need to do in order to attain the thing that they want to do. Tier 3 is at the top of the triangle. Students who have chronic behavior problems are those who will usually move on to the most intensive and individualized support system that is offered. And an FBA, functional behavior assessment, can be performed and discussed at this level. So a BSP can be implemented. Tier 3 serves 5% of students. Some interventions of tier 3 is the FBA, the behavior assessment. And that is the process that wants to identify problem behaviors so that interventions can be developed to improve or eliminate behavior. The process can range, but it can take 30 days, and it consists of interviews, evaluations, and a summary. Behavior therapy is also available to children, and it focuses on problematic thoughts and behaviors. It wants to promote positive behaviors and figure out where the unwanted behavior is coming from. Alternative placements are provided in schools to provide a more structured support system. Children are placed in an alternative school format because their behavior problems are chronic compared to their peers in their mainstream classes. And structured breaks are given to students who engage in disruptive behavior and teaches that student how to ask for a break for themselves. It'll encourage their self-awareness and the needing to self-regulate and take their break. A reward system increases motivation in kids. It piques their effort and their interest, and it gives them a solid reason to work towards their goals right away. Additional support for teachers and administrators. The Office of Elementary and Secondary Education in the US has a collection of resources for educators and schools available on their website about Pbis, implementing it and what goes into it. In Oklahoma, our local Pbis partner is Tim Lewis, and our state coordinator is Krista Knight from the Oklahoma State Department of Education. The Oklahoma State Department of Education has a website titled OTIS, and that stands for Oklahoma Tiered Intervention System of Support. And it's the state model or the state plan for dealing with academic and behavior difficulties in Oklahoma from pre-K through 12th grade. And it outlines the plan, and it has individual links and resources that you can look at to try to, if you're interested in implementing Pbis in your school or classroom, whether you are a teacher or an administrator.